Everybody, welcome to another daily devotions. Good to have you with us today. The first day of spring was just a few days ago, but it snowed. So I'm downstairs again in the studio working through some stuff. I just finished up a Bible study pre-recorded for our members for this past Wednesday night. And I got into this subject of failure, and I wanted to explore it just a little more because failure is such a powerful thing, and it leads to so many other things in its own weird way. So thanks for joining us. If this is your first time here, thanks. My name is Dave. I'm a Christian recording artist and a worship leader, and an author based in New Jersey, and it's wonderful to have you here. We launch these on Saturdays because it's cool to take the Saturday and hopefully you're a little more free of distractions on a Saturday where you can just take time and focus in on some of the scripture and what we're actually talking about. So welcome, good to have you here. If you want to join our membership program where we have access to over 250 hours of content, Bible studies, live streams, worship videos. You get 5 CDs and a t-shirt, all this stuff. You can just go over to joindavesband.com and you can join us there. But today I want to get into, so what we were talking about was Matthew 17, right? So verse 14, I'll just kind of paraphrase a little bit. Jesus had just come down from the mountain with James and John and Peter, and there was this whole transfiguration thing going on. We discussed that in our membership area as well. If you want to check that out, you can. But they get down to the bottom of the mountain, and they see the other 9 disciples and this guy, and they're kind of in this little bit of a riff there. And the guy comes up to Jesus and says, "Hey, my son is demon possessed. He's, seriously demon possessed." And he says, "If you can help him, please do." And so that leads into this whole tirade of Jesus, just like, "If you can?" ? But let me just back up just a little bit. So the disciples failed. The 9 disciples failed to cast this demon out, and Jesus had given them the ability to do that. And yet this one, for some reason, was a little harder to get out. And so let me just read this. I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him. And Jesus answered and said, "You unbelieving and perverted generation, how long shall I be with you?" So Jesus is getting a little exasperated here. It's just kind of a little, you can just see the frustration. "How long shall I put up with you? Bring him here to me." And Jesus rebuked him, and the demon came out of him, and the boy was cured. Now, Mark has a very different account on this. In Mark chapter 9, and pardon my looking down, but I just want to make sure I'm reading all of this right. But Mark chapter 9, the father brings him to him and says, "But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." And Jesus said to him, "If you can, all things are possible to him who believes." So when we're talking about failure, right? Failure is it's an interesting word. And I wanted to look up a couple of different things about failure, right? So a couple of quotes that I found on failure. Failure isn't fatal, but failure to change might be, right? Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Ooh, Jack Canfield said that. That is an incredible quote. John F. Kennedy, "Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly." Let me see if there was one more if you don't try anything, you can't fail. It takes backbone to lead the life that you want. These are all just people that have quoted, we're just quoting on failure. "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work," said Thomas Edison. I love that. "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." So here we are, these disciples have kind of come together, and this guy brings this kid to them, and they just can't make it work. Failure just happened, right? So let me just talk a little bit about the failure aspect of this, right? So on previous occasions, right, we learned in Luke chapter 10, they were able to cast other demons out. Yet here, they couldn't get this one out. It's because there are ranks of demonic powers, it says in Ephesians 6:12, right? And evidently some demons are stronger and more stubborn than others. The disciples had been given the authority to cast out demons, but this one was a little more difficult than others. Okay, got it. That happens. But let's talk about the act of the failure. What was the failure about, and why was it actually a good thing? Failure, in fact, was a good thing for these guys, right? The failure, any failure that we have, it teaches us, right? So sometimes we get so wrapped up in trying to succeed, and it's like, wait, but when I fall, I mentioned this in the Bible study, any entrepreneur always says they learn more from the failures than they learn from the successes, because the failures teach you lesson after lesson after lesson. So a couple of things that the failure taught the disciples. It taught them not to get into this rut of kind of mechanical ministry, this idea that you're just on this journey, right? And you're just, okay, we're going to do this again. We're going to, look at, modern day church services. I'm not knocking them, but like some of them, you just get into this mechanical rut. Okay, 12 minutes for worship, 4 minutes for announcements, 32 minutes for the sermon, 4 minutes for a response song for worship. See you later, And that's really tricky when you're trying to let the Spirit move in and around and through whatever happens on a Sunday morning. Because for some people, Sunday morning is the only time that they're getting access to anything having to do with Jesus. The rest of the week, they're just like, off and out. So I'm not knocking those types of services, but at the same time, you have to allow for the Spirit to actually move and to get out of the rut of mechanical ministry. It's tricky. Their failure taught them the great superiority of Jesus, right? They can't do it. They're frustrated with it. The guy is frustrated with it. The kid is still suffering. Jesus comes down from the mountain. Boom. It's done. Like there was no hesitation at all in what Jesus did. He said, bring him here, and he cast him out. It taught them to wish for the presence of Jesus, right? So Jesus is up on the mountain. The other 3 disciples are with him. The transfiguration is happening up there. Maybe they saw a couple of bright lights happening, but they're down at the bottom and they're frustrated. And they're like, where is Jesus? Why can't Jesus be here? And the father was frustrated. And the kid probably didn't even know what was going on. But frustration was around. It was just kind of this whole area was just seeped in frustration and longing for Jesus. How many times are we in situations where we're just like, I wish I could just break through this. I wish I could find a way through this. I wish I could just see Jesus in the midst of this. So you're longing for the presence of God in this situation. God, I'm failing at this today. I'm failing at this over and over and over again. How many days in a row do you sometimes fail at something, right? I'm failing in this. The next day, I failed in this again. The next day, I failed in this again. And what do? Sometimes we don't even acknowledge that we need Jesus in the midst of it all. So we need to long for the presence of God in our lives, in the midst of our failures. Long for the presence of God in it. Just getting a hold of that now. I didn't have that in the Bible study. And then it taught them to come to Jesus with a problem, right? How many of us over the course of this week have had problems? Okay? We all have. It's just the nature of human existence. Life is life. Life is filled with problems. Like it's just, hey, if you live on this earth, you're going to have problems, right? So how often do we take those problems to Jesus? Every day? Every hour? Every minute? Do we even leave some of those problems on the side thinking that they're not that big of a problem, so I've got that one, but let me just take this one to Jesus. He's looking for it all. I really, really believe that. He's looking for it all. And so let me just kind of recap these 4 or 5 points here. The failure was good. The failure teaches. Just remember, failure teaches. Every single time there's a failure, it teaches us some kind of lesson. It taught them not to get into the rut of mechanical ministry. Maybe you wake up, devotions, first 15 minutes, get ready for work, breakfast, lunch, work, breakfast, all this kind of stuff. And your day is just the routine, and there's nothing wrong with routine. But maybe every once in a while, pull yourself out of the routine and get into prayer, get into helping, assisting, serving, something like that. Maybe there's something else you can do over the course of the day. It doesn't have to be a long thing. Maybe it's 5 minutes. Maybe I'm just going to, hey, today I'm just going to sit and I'm going to read through these verses today. I didn't do this yesterday. Let me try this today. At a different time, create new ways to kind of bump yourself out of the rut of your habit a little bit, just to change it up just a little, right? It taught them not to get into the rut of mechanical ministry. It taught them the great superiority of Jesus. Jesus has got it. Like, when I don't, he does. That's all there is to it. It taught them to wish for the presence of Jesus. I'm not going to be able to stress this enough, but our longing for the Father. This should be a daily thing. Jesus, I long to be closer to you. Jesus, I long to have you in this. Father, I long to have you in that. What is your situation today that you're struggling with? I long to have you in this. It taught them to come to Jesus with a problem. All problems. Not just some of them. All of them. Man, it's incredible when you look at this little verses. Again, Matthew 17, 14 through 22. Just go read the story. Make sure you understand what's going on. Part of the lesson here is the potency of genuine faith, right? That father said, if you can. Jesus immediately questioned those 3 words. If I can, question mark. And then he says, wait, I do believe, help my unbelief. The potency of his faith pushed Jesus over the edge. Pushed Jesus to the point of healing this kid, right? Part of the lesson here is the potency of genuine faith. In giving this reminder, Christ once again mentions the tiny mustard seed. So later on, he says, the disciples are like, what was the deal? Why couldn't we do this? And Jesus said, your faith, it was the littleness of your faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move, and it will move. The amount of the faith is so, so crucial. When even a sliver of faith in his power and authority, nothing will be impossible for them. It's an important and a powerful lesson to the disciples back then and to us here and now, right? These men will eventually come to perform impossible seeming miracles as they represent Jesus for the remainder of their lives on earth. They're the reason we believe, right? Their faith grew. Their power grew. They were doing these miracles that just seemed impossible. The power to do so will never come from their own ability or their goodness or their status. Please, please, please. Let me just get that into my own head too. The power to do all of this, it will never come from our own ability. It won't come from our goodness. It won't come from our status, right? It always comes through the special endowment that is enabled by our faith in Jesus. Man, that is just so, so good. Man, we could probably just end right there. I just want to quickly just thinking about this, right? Thinking about faith, thinking about our unbelief, about what what it all means. Spurgeon said this: little faith can accomplish great things, but great faith can accomplish even greater things. What matters most is what our faith is in, the object of our faith, right? It's not, I have more faith than that guy, superficially saying, yeah, I have faith. No, it's the object of the faith. It's the faith in God. It's the faith in Him saying, it's faith in us saying, God, I believe, help my unbelief. I believe that this can be done. Faith looks away to itself, to the object of faith, even to Christ. That's all quotes from Spurgeon. Man. There was one more little nugget that I wanted to find here. I can't seem to find it, but, here it is. Here it is. Faith, accomplishing things. Let's just jump back to failure, right? So failure teaches us things. And failure, sometimes we get so frustrated in our failure that we just kind of give up. But God tells us to take it even deeper, like lean deeper into it, right? Prayer, fasting, that's how these things are changed. That's what he said about this demon. This demon could only come out through prayer and fasting. And Poole says this: there are some things which are obtained by a stronger faith, and by more fervent and importunate prayer. Now, importunate, I didn't know what that meant either, so all good. But it just means more persistent prayer. Persistence to the point of annoying, right? Than others are. So, more fervent and persistent prayer. A mercy sometimes seems to come to out of the hand of God with more difficulty and wrestling for it. Sometimes we have to wrestle, right, to get through the failure, to get to the outcome that we're looking for. Now that's an important point. The outcome that we're looking for, it's probably not the way this goes, okay? It's the outcome that is aligned with the will of the Father. That's where we're supposed to be. Our will aligned with His. Break my heart for what breaks yours, right? That's our vertical alignment with the Father. That is where overcoming the failure comes into play. So today, as you struggle with this, and we all do, okay? We all struggle with failure every single day. But think about these disciples. Think about their learning as they failed, right? Think about this Father saying, I believe, but help my unbelief. We'll never believe enough. I really feel that. We will never believe enough. But God can continue to inspire our belief, right? Inspire us through the failure. So today, think on your failures and learn from your failures. Learn from your failures. Let them get you out of the rut that you're in right now. Whatever that rut looks like as far as your spiritual rut goes. We're all sometimes falling into spiritual ruts, okay? Let them teach you about the superiority of Jesus. He is greater than all of it. He's greater than all of it. Let those failures make you long for the presence of Jesus in your life. And let them prompt you to come to Jesus with a problem. Okay? Man, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. Take a minute, go back, read Matthew 17, 14 through 22. Check it out. If you want to learn more and dig deeper into it, please join our membership area. Head over to joindaysband.com and just join at the tour manager level, okay? That'll just kind of get you access and get you in. Use the code 25OFF forever, and that'll get you 25% off of your membership. But immediately, you'll get access to all of our Bible studies on Matthew, our study on Matthew. It's over 450 parts right now. We've been going at this for over a year. It's been incredible to dive into the book of Matthew, study it verse by verse, and really see how the words just literally come off the page and how they can just be applied to our lives. So we want you to experience that as well with us. Again, head over to joindaysband.com. Use the code 25OFF forever and get access to all of this stuff. I'll send you 5 CDs. I'll send you this t-shirt, and you'll be part of our membership, and you'll be joining a group of people that are just coming together every week, every day, learning more and more about Jesus. You'll get devotions sent to your email inbox every single morning. Together, we're just striving to know Jesus and to know what he wants us, how he wants us to live this life. So if that sounds appealing to you, join us. joindaysband.com. And the greatest part of our membership is the first few dollars goes straight to helping us sponsor a kid. So we use our membership to affect and change lives. We give them food, clothing, clean water, and healthcare, and we see lives changed through our work. So together, let's fail. Okay? It's amazing to say that, but it's true. Together, let's fail so that we can be more dependent on Jesus, so that we can be more dependent on our desire for him, and we can long for him more. All right, guys, thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it. Again, join us, become a member, and be a part of all that we're doing together. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.